Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Rey Ybarra here, and very, very excited. We have a friend back on the program, Chef Cherie Hunter. She wrote an incredible book, a sequel, Married with Kids and Loving It, Part 2. And I love that title, by the way. It's really cool. She's an author, chef, business owner, entrepreneur, and a Marine who served our country with distinction and honorably for 8 years. Thank you for your service, Cherie. She's also the owner of the Global Love Catering business, a veteran minority and woman-owned business. We welcome back to the program our friend Cherie Hunter. And Cherie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And I would like to start with this here. You have a book, Married with Kids and Loving It, Part 2. I love that title because I can get a visual in my head of that being a really cool part 2 to a movie, a really fun movie. So let's talk about your book here.
Yes, Married with Kids, Part 2. Part 1 was a little look into who I am as a wife and a mother. Mm-hmm. Part 2 came about because my kids love my cooking. And my oldest asked me about how was he going to get my chicken and dumplings when he grew up, when he moved out the house. And I told them that I would write all the recipes down in a book. And when each of them left home, I would give them a copy of the book. Well, then it was, why don't I create the book and not just for my children, but for others to give to their children when they move out, or for them to enjoy in the home with their children. So I wrote Married with Kids and Loving It, Part 2.
Yeah, that is a great story. And, that really hits home with me, Cherie. And I'll tell you why, because when my mother passed away, sadly, I did not get any of the recipes that she made of all of her food that she cooked, all of the Mexican dishes that she cooked from scratch. I didn't get any of that. And I tell my wife to this day that I can still taste and smell the foods that she made for me, but I don't know how to go back and I don't know how to recreate them. So this is so important. It's just much more than a cookbook, is it?
Yes, very much more. And I know with men and boys, a lot of them didn't grow up in the kitchen, with their mothers. A lot of the girls did, but and it's sad, but it is what it is. And I know for me, I made sure that my boys knew how to cook. I made sure that they were in the kitchen with me, but at the same time, we all know us cooking something isn't going to taste exactly the same as mom doing it, but we could get close. And with them having the recipes, I know you're always going to feel it's not the same, but you'll get close with the cookbook.
Now, an interesting point here is that your dad was a chef, and you say that your dad was a chef and that you spent a lot of time, he was in the kitchen there cooking, and there was a lot of time spent. So talk to us about your father and what an influence he was for you.
Oh, yes, my dad. He is a chef. He's actually still chefing it up to this day. He works offshore on the oil rigs, cooking for them. Cooking in the kitchen with my dad, everything was from scratch. My dad did not believe in box mixes, and it was always a learning curve experience and a delight cooking in the kitchen with him. Learning new recipes, smelling different spices and herbs. We even gardened. We grew our own jalapeno peppers, bell peppers, tomatoes, and we cooked with them. And it was a real joy. And he instilled a lot of values of cooking from scratch, not depending on a box.
Now, I think what is really interesting is the fact that you didn't know, even though your dad was a big influence on you and you spent a lot of time in the kitchen and around him, uh, you didn't come to the realization, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't come to the realization that this is what you wanted to do until you were honorably discharged from the Marines and you were an adult. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I always loved cooking and I always loved cooking for crowds, but I don't know, something clicked once I was honorably discharged from the military that I just, it's like a seed, a bulb planted. It needs the time, the water to be nourished. And then all of a sudden, it just blossoms. And that's how it was with me with cooking. I always loved to cook. I was always creating something. But that burst to bring it to to share it with others other than just my family did not happen until after I was honorably discharged from the Marine Corps.
Now, you spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, and from what I understand, you were helping fight the bad guys as well. And you did that with distinction. You have a lot of honors. In your career in the military, did you cook at all when you were in the military for your fellow Marines at all, or did you serve any time in the kitchen there doing that, or no?
Uh, for my Marines and the Marines, my husband was a Marine as well. He served 8 years and was honorably discharged as well. And whenever he was on duty, I would cook a meal and take him and whoever he was on duty with dinner. And every time he had duty, whoever he was on duty with would be happy they were on duty with him because they know they were going to get fed that night.
They were going to get home cooked meals instead of mess hall meals, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, what prompted you to join the Marines? What was it about it that you were looking to get out of joining the Marines?
Believe it or not, going to college.
Okay,
And I wanted to go to college to be a lawyer. Yeah.
interesting.
In high school, I was a part of my high school's mock trial team,
Hmm.
which is a kind of a legal team. And we had competitions where you would they would give you a fake case and you would go up against another school and go to court and try to get someone off from doing a crime.
Hmm.
And we made it pretty far. And my school was actually in the newspaper doing this, and I was in the newspaper on the mock trial team, and I really thought that's what I wanted to do. And I know that law school isn't cheap, so I figured going to the Marine Corps and having them pay for college. And also, I come from a background of Marine.